Support for Wrestlezona comes from the Wrestling Guy Store Phoenix, offering wrestling-themed merchandise and collectibles. More information at WGSPHX.com. That is WGSPHX.com. Hope you're having an amazing one, Wrestlezona family, whenever you happen to be tuning in, and welcome back. My name is Lance Reece, your definitive host for this half hour. I've been a fan of professional wrestling since I was about 6 years old, begging my parents to buy me action figures ever since I saw videos of Jeff Hardy's Swanton bombing on YouTube. We got another packed episode for you today, as we here on episode 32 of Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse. We'll cover what's happening in the world of WWE, All Elite Wrestling, the Indies, and even wrestling here local in the Valley. Stay tuned to hear exciting wrestling coming straight here to Mesa and Phoenix, as well as every Royal Rumble participant announced so far a week before leading into the iconic event hosting from Saudi Arabia on January 31st. Hopping straight into the big event that is only 6 days removed from us. It's insane to say that Royal Rumble season is upon us. But of course, the Royal Rumble will be resonating live from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on January 31st. WWE has gone international once again to bring back a Royal Rumble. And last time they actually did do a Royal Rumble, but it was the greatest Royal Rumble, an exclusive back in 2018, which featured a 50-man rumble, which was pretty interesting, to say the least. That was, of course, won by Braun Strowman, who didn't quite earn a WrestleMania title shot, more so than win a big belt that was never defended. But here's who we got so far announced. For the men's 30-man rumble, so far announced is Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Jey Uso, Penta, Dragon Lee, and Rey Mysterio. And for the women's matchup, so far announced is Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Asuka, Bayley, and Lyra Valkyrie. And it's interesting to see Gunther announced for this, as, you know, there is a very important match coming up that could be a retirement match. This is the first time in a while that a career has been put on the line at a WWE Premium Live event, for as it could be over for the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. Gunther will be taking on AJ Styles on one-on-one action. The stipulation being, if AJ Styles loses, he is retired from the WWE. AJ Styles has already made it clear that 2026 is the last year for the phenomenal one hanging up his boots. If you ask me, I think it's cool that they're putting this up on the line, but I do not believe it is AJ Styles' final rodeo. I think there's still potential for him to have some in-ring comeback, albeit TNA, as he was there for the AMC television debut. But, a week away from AJ Styles' retirement, that can't be. You know, I see him going over Gunther that match. That is my personal prediction. I could see him retiring at Mania. I'm not sure against who, but I'm really hopeful to see him get past this obstacle, and then, you know, after that he's gonna be able to wrestle in TNA. Hopefully, that's my hopes, and I'm sure many more. Also for WWE, we have some results from the January 19th Raw. In that event, Finn Balor returned home to his island of Belfast, Northern Ireland, and he brought his old theme music with him. The Balor Club was fully behind their guy as he wrestled a banger main event match against CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. Unfortunately for him and all of Ireland, he came up short. Nevertheless, Finn put up the type of performance that fans should hope to see from the Prince of Rock and Rolla. For all the New Japan heads out there who remember him as Prince Devitt. Also in that night, Becky Lynch defeated Maxine Dupree to retain the Women's Intercontinental Championship after Natty turned on her former protege. Quite a big reveal there. Of course, after Penta, Dragon Lee, and Rey Mysterio defeated Austin Theory, Logan Paul, and Bronson Reed of the Vision in an absolute fire 6-man tag team match. Logan Paul attempted to slide his brass knuckles to Austin Theory in that match, but were intercepted by the Raw GM Adam Pearce. El Grande Americano defeated Javon Evans, unfortunately due to referee stoppage, and this is no storyline. Javon Evans is unfortunately injured. It was a very scary sight to see him flying around the ring and then all of a sudden just kind of have to stop. On commentary, Michael Cole theorized that he had suffered some kind of upper body injury, perhaps to his shoulder or pectoral muscle, but that was reportedly not the case. Mike Johnson, a PW insider, says the concern with Evans centered around a possible concussion. Javon was further evaluated by medical personnel backstage, and according to Johnson, he left the venue with the rest of the locker room. It is believed that Evans seriously suffered a concussion, but has not been 100% confirmed thus far. And of course, as previously mentioned, CM Punk put away Finn Balor to retain the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw. 2026 so far has proven to be a very exciting time for the WWE. As you know, there of course are a lot of speculation and rumors for new signees that could be coming up. Powerhouse Hobbs, who just dropped the World Trios Championship at Collision here in Phoenix, is now rumored majorly to be making a debut sometime in WWE, supposedly straight to the main roster for the big man. And there's been a lot of hopes, but no confirmation or any sign of Chris Jericho returning to the promotion. Of course, Chris Jericho has officially parted ways with AEW. The former AEW and Ring of Honor champion is no longer listed on their website. With SmackDown and an upcoming Saturday night's main event scheduled for Montreal, Quebec, with Jericho's Canadian roots, it is possible for him to make his way to return. The only situation being that Jericho's band Fozzy is going on tour from May 7th starting in Daytona, Florida, extending to May 16th in Flint, Michigan. Obviously, this gives them time, even, who knows, next week at the Royal Rumble, or maybe in time for a WrestleMania program. Still gives them time to do the tour with his band, and, you know, it's very interesting for Jericho, because he is getting to that age near retirement, but who knows, we could see Jericho lacing up those boots for a year, for another 10 years, whatever fits his camp. Of course, in terms of Royal Rumble news, we will have coverage for you next Sunday, February 1st, the day after the event. I'm Lance Reece with Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse, and let's get back into the news. We had left off with some potential rumors, or at least I teased some rumors of some potential WWE signees coming up. And the signees in question happen to be some New Japan stars, as of course the New Japan scene has shook up a bit coming into the new year after Wrestle Kingdom. It is reported that a former IWGP heavyweight champion is leaving the promotion soon and rumored to be joining the WWE. Earlier this month, New Japan Pro Wrestling held the 20th Wrestle Kingdom event, its biggest show of the year at the Tokyo Dome. The event would see Hiroshi Tanahashi retire against Kazuchika Okada after an incredibly successful 25-year career. Another match on the card would see former Olympic judoka gold medalist Aaron Wolf make his debut by challenging the House of Torture's Evil for the Never Openweight Championship. Evil has continued his feud with Wolf, facing each other in tag matches at Kurokan Hall for the Road to the New Beginning tour, but it seems that his tenure with New Japan Pro Wrestling might be wrapping up sometime soon. So the question is, will Evil be coming to WWE? It's a crazy sentence on its own, but we are talking Evil the wrestler, which is another good question if they would have him keep his name. That's become quite iconic for him. Earlier in the week, it had been stated by Brian Alvarez of Wrestling Observer Live that Evil's contract and current status with New Japan Pro Wrestling is rumored to be coming to an end and that he might be considered for the WWE. Some other names that the WWE have considered of late are Gabe Kidd, Drilla Maloney, and David Finlay of the Bullet Club War Dogs faction that have gained the interest of WWE. Of course, with the Bullet Club Club War Dogs faction no longer being around, having dissolved earlier in the month, it is entirely possible that it could be coming up for those three in terms of a WWE contract once their contracts expire with New Japan. All Elite Wrestling has been working with Gabe Kidd, bringing him in for multiple events and tapings, and even becoming an associate of the Death Riders faction of Jon Moxley. However, there is no official confirmation if AEW is trying to sign him to a deal, and his work has been entirely in collaboration with New Japan Pro Wrestling. And that makes Gabe Kidd a hot commodity. You know, he could go either way, and wherever he's going to go, he is a star. I think he would thrive more in an all-elite environment, considering the reputation he has already built for himself. But WWE could have a star on their hand, even with a guy like Hobbs. You know, two former AEW guys, kind of homegrown in a sense. Put him in a tag team, you got a powerhouse kid. That's definitely something to consider. In some lighthearted and, you know, kind of nice news, Mick Foley, by the way, former guest of Wrestlezona, has posted to his social medias on Instagram revealing that he has dropped 100 pounds. Foley began his weight loss efforts in January 2024 at 372 pounds. He declared it the heaviest he's ever been, and now about 2 years later, he's down to an impressive 272. It has been amazing to see Mick Foley fall down to a far healthier size. He cites weight loss medication and DDP yoga as factors towards his success, but he also worked to make healthier choices with his meals on top of that. He joked around saying, "I'm moving around so much better. I'm not short of wind after walking up hills and stairs, and one day may even take my shirt off at the beach. Perhaps me and Tommy Dreamer can have an epic stipulation match. Loser takes off t-shirt." Foley dropping 100 pounds is quite the accomplishment, though he's not done yet. The WWE Hall of Famer is hoping to lose another 22 pounds before his 61st birthday on June 7th. In a puzzling but hasty sense, Trey Miguel of the Rascals has addressed his abrupt AEW release. Less than what seems like a week ago, the ex-TNA group The Rascals were confirmed as Tony Khan's newest signings for AEW. But it seems as only Zachary Wentz, Desmond Xavier, and Myron Reed are going to be on Dynamite and Collision going forward, as Trey Miguel is, and it's not really confirmed, but taking a break from pro wrestling. It could be something due to management, or it could be a personal choice by Miguel, but seems rather odd only days removed from the group's signing. Hey, I'm Lance Reece with Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse. Today's hits and your favorites. And we have some exciting local wrestling news coming up for you. But first, it's time for us to present another iconic segment of this show, and that being our 10 Bell History. 10 Bell History. 1. The ECW World Title was once defended in Japan with no ECW promotion present, and most American fans didn't know until months later. 2. Chris Jericho invented his own entrance countdown because WCW's production crew kept missing his cue. 3. Raven and Diamond Dallas Page were roommates in the early 90s. Both broke, both studying tapes obsessively. 4. The Hardcore Championship was defended in an airport baggage claim, not televised, but recognized. 5. Stone Cold Steve Austin was almost fired from WCW via FedEx while recovering from injury. 6. Terry Funk turned down multiple guaranteed WWF contracts because he preferred wrestling wherever he wanted. 7. The NWO hand gesture was improvised backstage and wasn't originally meant to be a long-term symbol. 8. The WCW Cruiserweight title was once defended in Mexico without WCW's approval, but they still counted it. 9. The Undertaker learned his iconic sit-up from horror movies, not wrestling. 10. The famous Yes chant predates Daniel Bryan. It existed in Ring of Honor crowds years earlier. That concludes our 10 bell history segment of the show. Were there any fun facts there you didn't know about? If so, let me know. You can contact me on social media at Wrestlezona on Instagram is where you can find me. Of course, you can also check out 887thepulse.com as well as Wrestlezona.com. Before our 10 bell history, I had stated that I'd be getting into some local wrestling news, so here we go. First off, yesterday, our friends at the Wrestling Guy Store Phoenix hosted a meet and greet for former WWE Diva and current TNA wrestler Candice Michelle. Coming up, Slam U, a subsidiary of Phoenix Championship Wrestling, is hosting the free Copa Cultural 2026 February 21st for the Copa Cultural Night Market in Maricopa, as well as June 5th through 7th. Expect to see wrestling action all day at the Phoenix Fan Fusion in Phoenix, Arizona. Also for PCWAZ, their next event is a one again live on Broadway at the Eagles Community on March 14th, and they also have some coming up for May 16th, July 18th, and as well as their anniversary event, which is confirmed for September 12th. Friday Night SmackDown by WWE will be coming to the Mortgage Matchup Center on Friday, March 13th, as well as All Elite Wrestling comes to Southern Arizona for the first time for Saturday Collision on March 7th at the Tucson Arena. Also in local news for IZW, they will be having their annual Monster event, their biggest event of the year. It will be featuring the IZW debut of Amira, Marty the Moth Cautious, as well as former TNA Knockouts champion Su Yung. Also in wrestling news, Game Changer Wrestling, which is coming to the Nile Theater on February 15th, has announced a pretty insane lineup, if you ask me. Joey Janela versus El Phantasmo, as well as Rey Ores versus Vengador. There has not been any more confirmed matches so far, but confirmed to show up is the GCW World Champion Atticus Cogar, as well as Phoenix Original Hammerstone. Also expect to see Matt Tremont, One Called Manders, Effie, and more. Well, that wraps up episode 32 of Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse. In this half hour, we discuss all the hottest wrestling news, and we will continue to do that for you every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. here on 88.7 The Pulse. If you ever miss an episode, you can always listen as a podcast on YouTube, on Spotify. Same name, Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse. If you're having trouble finding it, of course, redirect yourself to 887thepulse.com or WrestleZona.com. You have two options, so what are you doing? If you want to get in contact with me, Lance, you can of course contact me through social media. My Instagram is at Wrestlezona, that is at Wrestlezona on Instagram. And of course, reach out to me if you have any fun wrestling theme songs you want me to play on the show, or if you have any interesting news, insight, if you want any guests that you think you should personally tell me that I should personally reach out to. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and reach out and ask. There is nothing hurting you from doing so. Next week, we will have the results of WWE's Royal Rumble event from Saudi Arabia for you, as well as other exciting wrestling news and theme songs. For now, I'm Lance Reece with Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse, and until next time... Support for Wrestlezona comes from the Wrestling Guy Store Phoenix, offering wrestling-themed merchandise and collectibles. More information at WGSPHX.com. That is WGSPHX.com.